忍びの時代は終わる。
螺旋が
The truth about AMADO that you didn't know. Yeah, that's our topic today. But before that, I want to ask your opinion first, guys. What are your expectations of this mustachioed old man who has an obsessive need to bring his daughter back to life? Is he a father with absolutely no malicious intentions? Or does he just want to have a better life in this world to be able to feel the happiness of living with his daughter? But of course, most of you will probably think that he will be a villain who poses a threat to the shinobi world. But that's also not a big problem from what you all assume. Because in fact, since the beginning of this character was introduced as a scientist who has a lot of knowledge, including how a human concept can be revived through karma, and even the concept of eternal life from karmic reincarnation, it certainly raises a lot of suspicions about this mustachioed old man, right? You know, it's probably not the first time we're talking about AMADO. Crazy, wild theories even suggest that he's the god of Otsutsuki, even that he's Shibai himself. Surely you must have heard a lot from various people who say that about him. But have you ever wondered if AMADO actually has a plot twist that you've never imagined? That is, this AMADO is actually not evil and has no bad intentions. And as you also know, AMADO is the one who created several villains who of course are now allies of Boruto, who became a singularity of fate. Yeah, he is Kashin Koji. Maybe some of you forgot or don't know what exactly is the purpose of AMADO creating Koji, right? But because AMADO is a mysterious scientist, not a few of course who suspect many things, what is the real purpose of creating Koji? But if to say one of the many assumptions, it is clear that AMADO created Koji is to destroy Jigen and pull out Ishiki from his body. But the interesting point is, why AMADO specifically decided to clone Jiraiya Sensei, who is absolutely similar to Kashin Koji, because if you see this part, you will find a little answer. At the conclusion and point of this section, it goes more or less exactly like this, guys. Ishiki is aware that AMADO has hopes for small changes that might happen, and all of his hopes are resting on the great destiny of a man who became the reincarnation of a legendary Sennin, Jiraiya Sensei. And once again, according to Ishiki, AMADO wants to cling to Jiraiya's fate. If that's true, how would AMADO know about that fate? Because surely only the singularity of fate and Otsutsuki could know that. It's okay if some of you here are still confused about what it really means, maybe as a simple example like this guy's. As a former shinobi who has died in their era, have they ever thought that the destiny of the dead will continue to run and will continue to flow? No one seems to think that way, right? And here he is, AMADO, a scientist whose thoughts and plans are even beyond our expectations. But this is the big question mark. Is it because he's related to Otsutsuki or something that he believes in destiny, even with dead people? There is a probability that AMADO was originally a singularity of destiny, and everything changed when his daughter died from a rare disease. Although it is also a suspicion whether it is true that Akebi has a rare disease that has no cure, or even AMADO is just pretending and lying. But apart from that assumption, AMADO seemed to want to let his daughter live longer to protect the world. So he transferred the power to the clone so that no other human would have to endure the disease that Akebi had. And what if it turns out that AMADO isn't actually a villain, but instead the kindest person in the world? That could be a major plot twist, because our initial assumption that AMADO would turn out like Black Zetsu would be completely wrong. What if the story turns out that AMADO is actually the best person, guys? He wants to prevent destruction on planet Earth. Many theories say that his daughter is the incarnation of Shibai Otsutsuki, or even AMADO himself is the Otsutsuki himself. Because, of course, you must have heard many theories like that, right? But at this point, you should understand what I mean. If the one who knows about destiny and life in this world is an Otsutsuki, then what about AMADO? How could he know? Perhaps one answer that we can consider right now is because AMADO is related to an Otsutsuki. So it's like it's natural that he already knows about destiny and other things, especially about the Otsutsuki itself. But if we're still talking about destiny, this also has something to do with Boruto himself. Yeah, we all know that Boruto is destined to continuously lose everything, whether it's family, friends, or even the most precious person in his life. Of course, that destiny is inevitable. Boruto must be ready to accept it, because logically, every future path will lead to some probability of something that must be eliminated in order to get something more ideal. In other words, the fate of the loss of a person who is valuable to Boruto itself It is already part of where the future will be ideal. But saying who should be the victim, this is the interesting point, and time will answer everything with a plot twist that makes us shocked. And if indeed the scenario at the end, AMADO is not evil, plus he is a person who has a good purpose, then Boruto needs AMADO to correct his destiny. And in the end, AMADO is actually a good person who wants to protect planet Earth and bring his daughter back to life. And yeah, that's it. That's his goal from the beginning, and it never changes. Maybe all this time we thought he was going to bring big trouble with his goal of resurrecting the life of his long-dead daughter. But are we too prejudiced against him? Think about it, guys. There's a possibility that Masashi is setting AMADO up as the complete opposite of Black Zetsu. While no one suspected Zetsu's true malicious intentions from the very beginning, everything was revealed at the end, shocking everyone in a totally unexpected twist. Well, what if AMADO, who was initially made to seem suspicious, was deliberately made mysterious because of his vast knowledge, especially about Otsutsuki? But in the end, he will be revealed as a good parent who just misses his daughter, as well as surviving to protect planet Earth so that he can feel living with his daughter once again in this world. Yeah, what do you think? Does any of this make sense? Because surely every plot twist in the Naruto universe, Masashi will implement in this Boruto story, but with the opposite version. Perhaps a simple example is Boruto and Naruto. Naruto, who since childhood has experienced suffering and hatred for having a tailed monster on his body, but at the end of the story he gets a role and gets perfect happiness because he gets recognition from the village and even the world if he is the best shinobi. And this, of course, is the opposite of Boruto, who from childhood did not experience the same thing as Naruto as a child. But when Boruto grew up, he had to feel the suffering and hatred of the whole world. So, will the Naruto reference happen in the Boruto story with the reverse version? This is very interesting. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your opinions. Thank you for watching, liking, and subs. I'm Nim. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye, Dadabayo.